Trying to find the phone number.
Oh, for Zoom, I can tell you. Do you need
Okay,
the
what's the number?
you need the phone number for Zoom, or do you need the whole login string?
Is my voice better now? How is it coming?
It's
It's still not.
uh, it's could be better, I think.
I'm going to actually go out a little bit where there's less noise. Hold on, let's see that works.
That sounds good.
But, oh, thank you. How about now? Is it better?
A little bit. Yeah, I think
No.
so. I mean, quick sample, hard to know. So, I'm gonna I'm just putting in the Zoom chat the link to dial in if you want to dial in, Sanjay or anybody. This is from your email. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're going to start in just a moment. Oh, I'll put it in WhatsApp for you as well, Sanjay. There you go. Good to see you all. We'll start in just a moment. Glad you're here. John, are you at NAB New York? Hey, Gary. Hey, Fernando. Welcome. Josephine. Good to see you. Good evening. Glad you're all here. Starting in just a moment.
Cindy, you can hear me fine
I
or?
can hear you. Yes,
Awesome.
welcome,
All right.
welcome.
Okay. Well, folks, welcome to our 11th Zoom session in a row. We started back in May. I'm your host,
Good.
Sanjay B. Dalal at oGoing. Cindy, how are you?
I'm good. Glad to see you, Sanjay, and everybody. Welcome, welcome. So I love these sessions we've been doing. I was looking back over at the list of topics, and they really are actual tactics and things that we're using day to day for our clients and things you're using, Sanjay, in your business and your clients. So we're off on another topic today to just share with you what we're doing and how you can use it too.
Absolutely. We get started on time and we hope to close on time. So thank you all for
Okay.
joining. Love everybody who's here, and I'm sure we'll have more folks joining in. So we will just jump into the topic of the day. Let me just share this awesome slides here. There we go. So today's topic, Cindy, we do a lot of this. Isn't our today's session one of these too?
So many. This week, in addition to this fun session we're doing here, we have two other webinars we're working on this week. One tomorrow morning and then another one as well. So yes.
So marketing with online webinars, and I think the key one thing that we're adding to this is with AI. So what AI can also do with what we already do. So let's talk about that. That's me on a sunny day in Orange County. Yay! Uh, all good. Founder and CEO of oGoing. That's Cindy.
Hey, hey.
Awesome. So as Cindy said earlier, we have been running, every 2 weeks, and we are, I believe, more than halfway through 11 Zoom session, October 9th. How about that?
So good.
So good. So that also means we have a few more coming up. And the next, I apologize for the noise there. The next session is on October 23rd. And that's also an exciting topic. A lot of us do that already, but what is it that's the new in email marketing? So we're going to do that on October 23rd. A quick review of oGoing. We are the exclusive, the authentic small business community. We're growing. We just announced oGoing 2.0 last week. How about that? Awesome. Wanted to just take a quick, note to thank my team. We have been working on this 2.0 release for the past year plus and planning it for many years. First major release of oGoing in a long time. And we keep going. We are a small business community. Think of it as a LinkedIn or Facebook for small businesses out there. We have 150,000 members now on oGoing, and you're just going to love the platform. You're going to love the new release. It's innovative, it's immersive, it's engaging, it's responsive, all of the above. So take a look, go to ogoing.com or .net and find us, and you will see that it really helps you boost your brand, boost your website traffic, boost your business networking, and also, of course, your social media and SEO. So I invite all of you to go and check out oGoing. Cindy, Kokoro, yeah.
Hey, Kokoro Marketing. And I know some of you on this call, so nice to see you. I'm all about making sure the marketing starts a sales conversation. And so I spent a lot of years selling hardware and software to TV stations and video facilities. And now I'm off doing I figured out which marketing works the best, wrote it down in a book. These are the 7 things we do the most for people. And as I mentioned, we're hosting 2 other webinars this week. And so if you want to grab the chapter in there on webinars, and it also includes all the templates that we actually use with our clients. So we're using some tomorrow morning with somebody. Just text the word events to me. I put it in the chat at 1-530-203-5703, and you'll get that chapter plus all the templates. Use them for yourself. You're going to love it.
Absolutely. Highly recommend getting those for sure. And after today's session, marketing and online events, and we're going to talk about the AI part as well. I think the big question, Cindy, is can these events that we do online, can they really help increase our reach and engagement? What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So, especially if the topic is really narrow. So, say it's a very specific technology or a very specific problem or technique, depending on what industry you're in. If you're serving people who want to be healthier, or people who want to test video equipment, or people who want to take a trip, whatever it is, if it's nice and narrow, if somebody signs up for that, they're a lead. Nobody signs up for something super specific unless they're a good prospect. And so to me, just the fact that they sign up is huge. Of course, we want them to come and participate and join in, but the fact that they sign up is great. And so that is going to increase your engagement for sure. And just having useful information to help people with is going to increase your reach. So like one of the ones we're working on this week has a couple hundred people signed up for it. We know those are really good interested prospects right there.
No, absolutely. All of the above, everything that Cindy said, right? So, I mean, the key is the reach is another, of course, the reach also means the time zones do matter. So if I'm going to do a webinar at 12 in the afternoon here, and if somewhere else it's 1:30 in the morning, be mindful of that. Of course, you want to then think about hosting another webinar or another session in that time zone. So, but having said that, yeah, what's amazing is how much further these online sessions, in terms of reach, it's amazing. It grows and goes across territories and new markets, right? And you can really target prospects anywhere out there. So awesome reach, awesome engagement for sure. And I think the next big question is, are they expensive? Are they cost effective? And I think we know the answer to that compared to, let's say, a physical event.
Okay, so we've got some clients at an event right now in New York. And when I think about what the cost per lead is for that, so if you think about the cost per lead, and maybe those are new prospects or maybe they're existing customers, clients that you already have, and just think about
Yep.
what does it cost per person to come to that booth and see you? Is it $100? Is it $500? Is it $1,000? What is it? And then compare it to your online events. Granted, it's a little bit apples and oranges, but your online event, depending on how you set it up, it's going to help that know, like, and trust with the video. Oh, and you can also set up like breakout rooms with speakers where you can get in and have conversations. If you use a cool platform, my sister company's got a cool platform where you can see who else is there, start a conversation with them. So 100% yes, cost effective, work really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's significant, right, compared to physical event. Now, of course, we'll also look at some of the downsides of too many online events. There is always that, right? I mean, as Cindy said earlier, the topics matter, the audience matters, the timing of it matters, how long you take to promote this matters. Of course, there is an inundation of a lot of online events happening everywhere. But I think ultimately, if you bring great speakers, if you bring great topics, if you bring things which are going to be super engaging for the audience, then of course they will result, into a lot of this, in terms of savings and on your marketing budget, of course, elimination of travel expenses. There are physical events you still want to go and of course attend and be part of that community, right? There's no substitute for that kind of things. But definitely on an online platform, you can do many of the industry events. You can get great speakers, right, from all over the world to come and share their insights and views with you. So again, a great format. But what about the data? Is the data any better, Cindy? Is it different?
Well, some
Are
of
we
the
going to see similar reactions or different?
Yeah, some of the physical events I've been to have RFID data collection, so you can see, oh, hey, this person came into my booth multiple times. Has anybody had that? Has anybody done a physical event where you've had the RFID? You've had that, Sanjay. Anybody else? I think that's so cool because you can see, oh, this person came in the booth and then they came back with other people. So that's very interesting. Yet it can be difficult to grab data at a show like that because there's people passing by. Whereas if you've got an online event, they're going to definitely you're going to see who's logging in, and you can get a lot of demographic data and see who stayed the longest. So you've got a lot more granular event information and analytics as well. Is that what you were asking, Sanjay?
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. Because you can actually even see the attention to some of these
Mm-hmm.
platforms. Because I've seen audiences at times, they get into an online event and the next thing they're not really engaging or they're doing something else, in multitasking, right? I mean,
Right.
it's all of us do. So actually, the online events platforms do tell you, not specifically by person, at least overall, they can share as to what was the focus, how many people are actually engaged. And another way to elicit engagement is to do polls or ask questions, pause your event, and see how everybody is feeling or what everybody is thinking at a given time and have them do some chat, right? So you actually have a lot more real time interaction ability, in an online or even a hybrid event for that matter. So on that note, yeah, please do chat your questions and ask us questions in chat or introduce yourself from where you're logging in from and, your business and how folks can contact you. So please do that. And we are watching the chat. So if you're not doing that, we'll know that too. So that's
Can
part
I
of the engagement, right?
I have a sample
Yeah,
of the type of data that you can expect when you're doing some types, depending on the platform. Is it cool if I share that?
absolutely. Go for it. Yeah.
All right. Just to help. So this was from a sample of a software company training. So it's a big company. We all know who they are, and they needed a training room where they could have a main presenter and then they needed like breakout areas to go into the different topics for the software. And so for this particular event, there were 212 people, which is great for registrants, 86 attendees. So that kind of just gives you the scale of the size of it. And so there was a main training room where 70% of the people went to, but then there were also these other little Ask the Expert areas, a little cafe where you could just go chat, have a little coffee, demo room, interview with the key person, and then there was a little meet and greet area. So just to give an example of the types of information you can get, you can also then go in and grab comments if people are willing to share. So when you do an event like that, you can expect to get that type of data. Does anybody do online training or been to an online training? Does that resonate with anybody here? Quiet group.
Yeah, go ahead and you can share or speak up, you can unmute your mic. But yeah, even today's event, Cindy, if I may quickly show that
Oh
with the
yeah,
audience,
yeah.
like on Zoom, when we had the registration for today's event, it was fascinating to see that, well, actually, this was one of the first events we had. Actually, yeah, this goes back in time. So we had the event when we launched our series. This was on LinkedIn, actually. LinkedIn, we had a registration form as well, and you can see the 25 or 26 folks actually signed up on LinkedIn. And the good news is now that we have that list, we can follow up with them, and see
Hmm.
if they actually attended, maybe have them invite again, re-invite them to our future events like today's. And again, you can do this on any platform because LinkedIn also gives you this amazing tool to host events and create event listings and and then track your attendees. I'm not going to click on it for obviously from for privacy, but also the same thing for today's event on Zoom. If I may, we had actually a lot of folks who registered, and here is the information that Zoom gives us as well in terms of who they are, and the questions we asked at the time of registration. So now that you have the data, you can then cross-check, versus registration versus attendance. And then from the ones who attended, you can follow up and send them some nice emails afterwards and also send them a replay of this session, which is really cool, right? So this gives you many abilities, many touch points to follow up with your contacts.
To your point,
Uh,
then, Sanjay, to your point, like what do you think is the best, most effective way to follow up after a webinar or seminar or online event? Like what are some of the good ways? And if anybody in the group has successes that they've been like, this works great for following up. What do you think, Sanjay?
yes, Cindy. So I think, of course, following up with the folks who did attend. So first things first, thanking them and asking them for feedback is very important, right? And if there are any questions. I think on some of our events, we have seen like some folks have actually asked for extra takeaways or some key points that they would love to have, after the talk. So we should definitely send them those. And definitely the ones who couldn't attend, and even the ones who attended, having a link to the recording also helps. So we have seen that seemed to be quite beneficial, including a summary. I think the best thing that we know from Zoom when we
Oh
do this
yeah.
online web events is that it sends us a beautiful summary. And to me, that summary is also quite beneficial for attendees at a glance to kind of see the key takeaways as well as some of the points that they may have missed.
That's a good one. So much. In fact, one of the ones we're working on this week. So tomorrow morning, we've sent a question back to everybody and said, "What's your top question on this topic?" And then we've
Okay.
received a lot of questions, and pretty much the whole webinar is going to be going through those questions, kind of grouping them all together, going through. And for the follow-up, we're planning a big summary of like, okay, so for this topic, here's a summary and here's a little bit of video. And then because there's so many important areas, we're breaking it out into different kind of tranches, and the follow-up will probably go on for months with information based on really what the people ask, like the top questions, and then giving the answers.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, to summarize, can they improve the lead quality? I mean, when we say improve, of course, we are again comparing to other venues of marketing and lead gen. And we want to say yes because the ability to reach not only the new audiences, but also, as Cindy said, personalize that engagement, have that follow-up, different opportunities, more opportunities to engage. So when we combine all those things, the online world can provide you better leads. There may not be as many leads at times, depending on, if you have a very large physical event. But having said that, you do get many more opportunities to engage. And I think then, of course, the big question is, where does AI fit into all this, Cindy? And, I'll let you answer, and then we'll, does AI make this whole act of online webinars and sessions more effective, less effective? What are your thoughts on AI and the whole mix?
I guess the first thing that I thought about when you talked about how does AI fit in is a friend of mine was looking for a new group of customers to kind of offer their product to. And so they took their existing customers and the customer lifetime value for each. So this person, this company spent this much and put that into, I don't know if they were using Claude or ChatGPT, but one of those and said, can you find me 100 more people like this? And then please rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 as to how much you think they would be of value to us in terms of being an influencer, because in this case, they were looking for influencers and being a paid customer. And then they took that list that came back and decided that about 50% of it was actually totally solid gold in terms of leads. And then they started doing individual outreach to them. And they use that also, of course, for webinar outreach. So that was one of there's so many different angles. How about you, Sanjay?
No, I think I feel that there are three areas. Even when we were sharing the content for this, besides what you said, so AI does help. The key is what help you need from AI, right? I switch the question around a little bit because
True,
where it
true.
can help is, as you said, personalizing, right? So you can literally target the audience the way you want to target, right? So if let's say if this webinar was specific to a certain industry or a certain niche audience, maybe home services providers, let's say, then the AI really helps you do that, right? So then we can say, look, our audience is this. Let's make sure the content that we create for the webinar, for the session, the target audience, the demographics, maybe they're highly localized to, let's say, Orange County or Southern California, right? So by doing all that with AI, you can actually narrow down your niche and then focus in on the audience you really want to go after. And that helps a lot, right? So that personalization. And then beyond that, the event engagement, right? Both before, during, and after. So now that you have done the right targeting, then you said, look, let's make sure the engagement is also focused on that, as to, the people that we want to go after and speak to. And then, of course, the follow-up based on what attendance you get, what is the conversion and so on, right? So how do you keep nurturing the leads? And again, you can create specific content based on each attendee. So AI helps you with that as well, right? In terms of the lead nurturing and lead follow-up, with specialized. So as opposed to sending a generic message to everybody, you can actually look at each and every attendee who came to your session, do a little more research based on who they are with AI, and then make sure you create the right message for each of these attendees, right? So I think to me, AI really helps in three buckets. Cindy, your thoughts on that?
Oh, I love the what you were talking about in terms of sort of the segmentation and follow up based on that. Like that makes so much sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, overall, in terms of, let's say, the conversions, I mean, a lot of folks think about, Cindy, are online events going to be as effective with conversion versus other venues. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, are there becoming too much of that going on, or what's your thoughts on that?
I think we should all be everywhere our customers and clients are. And we could say the same thing. There's too many in-person events. And so I think that the key is whether it's an in-person event or on any kind of event, we have to make the information, the content be of service, be useful to who it is that we want to serve and work with. And so whether that's online or in person, those are both valid, right? That we have to, they're both valid types of events. We just have to make them super relevant and helpful to people. So I don't think there's too many. I think it's nice to have options for people and make sure that they can get the info that they want, and then we follow up. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a little stat on that. This
Oh,
was
good.
I picked it up from Neil Patel. Neil Patel is is this SEO guru. I mean, if you haven't seen his site, go and check it out. Really can
Yeah.
help you with your website.
So
But
good.
he had this note on this, Cindy, that
Mm-hmm.
that he thinks that depending on the type of the webinar, a straight up marketing webinar, which is specific purpose of lead gen, that's 36%, but overall, he thinks like a training webinars, or
Mm-hmm.
something for continuing education or internal, overall it's a 46% conversion according to his website. And then he said he also shared this, which I thought was super useful.
Oh yeah. I love
Of course,
that.
in this scenario, he's saying, Cindy, that look, if you're going to spend money on generating traffic for your registration page,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us we don't actually spend the extra dollars to create new traffic. But let's say if you had an organization which had that extra budget, or they were focused on doing things within a deadline, then yeah, if you do spend the money, then based on their own metrics, they found that let's say 5,000 people go to a registration page, out
Mm-hmm.
of which 40% attend, then thank you page is really the 2,000. I mean, sorry, this is from registration to finally registering. So there's definitely a drop off. And
Mm-hmm.
then from there, the actual attendees would be like 400 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, they also look at how many people actually go and replay the webinar,
Right.
and then ultimately how many purchase. So really, it comes down to 24. So if you look at how the numbers play out, uh, 4% is where they believe it ends up at the end of the day, right? 4% from the initial registration to the final people who actually end up making a purchasing decision, which is higher than just any other marketing, outreach, which typically tends to be in the 0.5% range, if you will.
And for me, I have to say a lot of the folks we work with, the webinar is a touch along the way. And so a conversion in the world of a lot of companies is like it started a sales conversation with the person who's gonna help that customer buy something later, and whether that happens this month or next year or literally a couple years from now, I look at the conversion pieces like, did it start a sales conversation? Is it moving the person forward and, helping them learn what they need to learn in order to become a customer? So depending on what type of business it is, we can look at what conversion means. Can I also
Yeah,
mention that another thing that I wanted to add to your list, Sanjay, is that a lot of people now are thinking about footprint, carbon footprint, and traveling, and that there's a kind of resurgence in a way of people who want to do online events and are limiting their travel due to thoughts of the environment. And so I just want to put that forward as another point as well.
I think that's a huge point. I mean, if you think about sustainability and the ability for doing so much more,
Yeah.
as long as you still have similar engagement where you're able to meet the person. And I think that actually beyond the webinar, Cindy, where it really is working wonders is one-on-one meetings, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
are having a one-on-one conversation with your prospective customer or your existing customer or partner in those scenarios, as long as I know who Cindy is or I know who Josephine or Kanaya or any of the folks who here are, I think that ability to connect in a one-on-one setting in a post-webinar, now that you know who the contact is huge, right? Because now, this can be done quickly. We do this all the time. And ultimately, I feel it's as effective as you would have normally. Actually, I think it's sometimes more effective because now, the ability to meet someone quickly without the worry about transport and trying to get there on time or driving crazily or flying crazily to make that event, right? I mean, we all have our stories on that.
So are there people on the call? I know one of you's already texted me to say we haven't really done any webinars or events. Are there any of you on the call who are like, haven't really done any, but want to? Is that a feeling like, or want to up your game, or just wondering about the group here, if that's something you're interested in doing more of? And if so, like, what do you feel like the top one or two challenges are to you? Like, what's stopping you, or what do you feel like, oh, I would, but this part seems too hard. Like, what is that for you?
Yeah. Fernando, would you like to share your maybe, you can share a couple of points here?
Sure. Good
Yeah, go
evening.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I think my main challenge is how to attract people from different parts of different time zones
Yeah,
to such an event.
yeah.
Um, and I wonder how you do it.
Well, I often sort of pick two. So I'm in the US, so if I'm working partly in the US, I pick are we going to go for Europe and the US? Are we going to go for Asia and the US? And I think about that. So if I care what time it is in India, if I care what time it is in Singapore, I'm going to pick a time that kind of is the happy medium between those two.
Yeah,
If I care more about Europe and the UK, then I'm going to go earlier in the US time and afternoon for Europe, UK, and just kind of just go with it. And what's shocking to me, Fernando, is the people who come from the time zone I think are would never come. It's like the most inconvenient time for them. And if they show up, I know that person's really committed and interested, right? Also, those people will sometimes sign up and just say, "Can I get the replay?" So that's one thing. Another thing is you could use Restream or any number of services where you can replay it later and it still feels like a live event. So lots of different choices for
absolutely.
that.
Great point, Cindy. Yeah, I mean, even I'm somewhat surprised. I think we have a couple of folks right now calling in from India, zooming in from India. So that just tells you that folks do have a
Exactly.
strong level of commitment. Yeah, absolutely. So I believe what are some takeaways, Cindy? A couple of takeaways from today's session.
I'd say a couple big takeaways are one, if you're thinking about doing a webinar, just pick a topic that will be of service to your perfect customer. And if you're wondering what that is, it's those questions that people ask you all the time. How do I do a webinar? Or how do I do this or whatever? Look in your outbox, look in your SMSs, think about that question you always get. That's your topic. And then if you can make a little checklist or something that's valuable, that's legit good info, give that to them both like during the webinar and then also have a plan for your follow-up and you can include that in your follow-up. Couple takeaways.
Absolutely. I think that's on the dot. And, you know, I think it's a daunting thing if you've not done the webinars before, but once you start doing it, you'll find it's so easy, it's so convenient. And frankly, your attendees will love it because you have the ability now to share something important for them. I would say focus on education, right? So as long as you're not
Yes.
trying to oversell what you do, just focus on how what you do can actually help your potential customers as a way of an insight or a way of some kind of a knowledge that they can take and apply it on their business or at their business. I think that to me is really where you will see more success with your online training or online webinars. If it's too much salesy or marketing heavy, then I feel that sometimes, people, they just doze off or they don't attend also, right? So you want to be, there's a fine line. But if you bring in some good expert speakers, as a way to share some great content, that also helps a lot. And with that said, the next session is coming up on October 23rd. Would love to see you there. New advances in email marketing along with AI. And also for folks who are here, local to Southern California, Orange County, we have the fall, holiday mixture coming up on October 24th evening at the Duck Club. It's an awesome place. So if you're local in SoCal, we'd love to have you there. But with that said, let me get back to folks. If you have any questions, go ahead, and this is your time. You can also send your questions via chat, and we will connect with you after the webinar. We'll send you a replay of this with a good summary, as we said earlier. But let us know.
Nice to see everybody. See you next time for email marketing and how to use AI in that. And I've got 3 massive pitfalls that we've run across, and I'm going to share those on the session in 2 weeks.
I can't wait to hear that. We normally hear the great benefits.
Well, we'll
Cindy's
do
saying
that
we're going to leave
too.
with pitfalls. There you go.
We'll share the
Pitfalls
benefits,
are. The title of our webinars or sessions is Small Business Marketing Tips, Do's and Don'ts. So there we go.
I'm
The don'ts are.
I'm giving both.
Talk about the don'ts. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Hello, Sanjay, this side Kanhaiya, and wanna say something.
Please.
Good, Kanhaiya.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. First of all, greetings from my side. I'm from Bihar, India, and eager to connect
you.
with you, all such people who is providing the free mentorship to the young minds and other entrepreneurs. And
Thank you.
may I share your schedule with the other Indian startups and the young minds who are eager to join your webinar on the Zoom? Would you please your templates and details for the next webinar?
Yeah, if you you can text me or just put your email here and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, okay. Would you please
just put
share
it in the
your
chat and I'll send it right over. It includes the templates we use.
Yeah. I can see that. And you please share your WhatsApp number also here in chat box.